one thing that's coming up and comes up a lot is you touched on community policing. I think people feel safer some people feel safer when they see an officer walking a beat. I mean, I think folks in the Castro feel better and safer. And that kind of the crime you were describing of, the person with serious behavioral health issues, serious substance use disorder, assaulting someone, randomly breaking a window. That is a set of crimes being committed by people who probably don't belong in jail, but also shouldn't be out in the street creating an unsafe environment. And having more police out and about in the neighborhood feels like it would help with that. This may touch on staffing, but how do we get more community policing, or what does community policing mean? And why don't we see more officers walking beats?
Yeah, so that's a really important question. And so let me start with community policing and what it means. Engaging with the various communities that we serve. And, in an ideal situation, I mentioned like the camera system, that you have one, work with us if you get evidence, or, hey, you see a car out there and your neighbor tells you that, I think that car has, broken into, somebody's car or somebody's house, whatever. Give us that evidence, engaging with the community. The other thing is, our engagement has to go beyond the crisis situation. So often when officers are going from call to call to call, and it's, very busy in a lot of our district stations, most of our district stations, in fact, you're really only seeing people when they're in a crisis situation. And really what community policing is and what it has to be, we have to handle those situations appropriately and with compassion and respect and all that. But it's a different type of relationship when you just are walking a beat and you're engaging with people, just checking on the business, how you doing, and getting to know who's in the neighborhood that you're assigned to patrol or assigned to walk a beat. And those type of relationships are really where it's at when in terms of community policing. Because if you all trust us, if you feel comfortable with that, yeah, I know Officer Scott, that's my beat officer, you're more likely to engage, and you're more likely to call and, tell us what we need to hear, and tell us what we need to know, and tell us, the things that we need to do our jobs more effectively. And what is a struggle, and, your district, it's been a struggle. Some of our districts, we're not staffed adequately. And so we have to spend the time going to those calls for service. And we don't really get the patrol officer out of the car on the beat where they just have time to engage like we would like them to. And that's where adequate staffing really makes a difference. But look, the reality is, as you said earlier, we're not going to be getting, 260 officers additional anytime soon. It's just not the budget reality. So we have to be as efficient as we can with the resources we have. And that means looking at what's important, what's really important, and focusing our resources in patrol. And that's, we're making some adjustments this coming month. Our sign-ups are coming, and we're going to be adjusting some of our stations and adding more personnel. That means some functions that we were doing in those other units won't get done. And we're trying to determine, which ones we can do that with. But we have to staff patrol adequately, because if we don't have that type of engagement, you're not going to have the community policing that we want and we deserve in this city. And we're just going to be bouncing from call to call, which is important. We have to respond to the emergencies, but you have to do that other piece too.